changing my voice. This video is important. So, there was an update on the Esparto fireworks explosion situation. There's also been a recent explosion where 3 police officers in Southern California were killed, and they're connected. But I'm going to make this video short and make it so that you understand that I must be right about this. So, the first thing that came up was the reporter's name. Okay. Her name was Ashley Sharp, right? Alpha Soleil Sharp. There's also a firefighter who owns Black Star Fireworks, okay, whose name was Craig Cutright. We also see again, he's a firefighter, right? Fighter, right? And there is the chief fire marshal, like martial arts marshal, except for it's spelled marshal as in to order, to arrange. Okay. His name is Daniel Berlant, which is a play on words for B, R lane T. R meaning us, their lane, and who you are and what you have, what have you. And also Boar lane T. The boar is a form of Set, who's a deity of evil, storms, rape by deception. His Middle Eastern equivalent is Baal. His Western equivalent is Zeus. Now, when you look at things in terms of their true meaning, right, esoteric meaning, their hidden meaning, their true meaning, you got to go back to the start. And so the first evidence of who Baal is actually Set, as far as anyone knows. Now, some people point to Sumer and things like this, but I think that when you look at it in terms of African, it's a lot easier to understand what's going on. And I'll tell you why. One reason is African martial arts predate, there's African religions predate all these things, right? All the other religions. Another is how martial arts relate to dancing, right? Martial arts convey a certain spirit. Dancing, in a much inferior way, conveys a spirit, and without the martial art connection, it's like almost empty, right? It just shows you a little trace of something. Martial arts really gets to the point of the matter, the marshalling process, the spirit, the spar, the spirit, what have you. Okay, a dance competition is not going to achieve that. A comparison of martial art forms without sparring is not going to achieve that. Breaking bricks does not achieve that. Okay. So, when you look at the Esparto, again, it's Esparto fireworks explosion. Spar is part of it. Okay, one of these guys' name is Jesus. The other one's name's Angel. Not a coincidence, right? My challenge, right? The word challenge has angel scrambled into it. It's a play on words for angel call hell, angel see hell, and a bunch of other things, when you look at the word challenge. So the highest point of that challenge, right? Again, martial is marital scrambled, and I, Christ, the top martial artist ever possible, and the bridegroom. So again, you have the spar, you have the sharp, and you have the cut right. Now, if you're in the military and you were pissed off, okay, and I'm not necessarily saying the military is the one doing it, but they're very much involved in the process of gang stalking me, right? And you were special forces, you knew someone was the top martial artist ever, could easily outmaneuver you, could kill 5 of you at the same time, hand-to-hand combat, what have you, okay, that you might say, you might act like a racist inbred person and say, hey, do it right, do it our way, and start throwing a fit like a bitch, right? And this is very stereotypical. There's people actually like that, yeah. But that doesn't mean they're the main ones doing it. The devil in Western culture has 3 main forms. One is like a tall, skinny guy, right? Like an English person, like Lucifer in the TV show. I think about a snake, okay, a dragon, right? And they have this kind of big snake, big dragon imagery in some of the English royal families, what have you. The Viking dragon flag, what have you. But they're not necessarily tall and skinny, but that's a story for another day. Then there's a short cigarette smoking devil, right? A lot of people associate with satanic Jews, with the porn industry, horny devil, wise ass, what have you. I mean, they're all horny devils in their own right, because they're all fertility deities, almost first and foremost. Reproduction, sexual control, what have you. The other one is a big, strong devil, which is very much like the military and the police, but it's more specific than that, right? There's a nuance between a sort of gayish kind of military police officer who seems more harmless and a kind of very angry police officer. Okay, so when you get the kind of good cop, bad cop psychology, again, they both work for a corrupt state, no offense to anybody, this has to be said, And to understand what's going on, I have to understand these things. It's not smart to keep people in the dark so people can maintain their respect or try to achieve it or whatever. Okay, so Lucifer, when mixed, if you mix the two or the three, right? The three forms of the devil, right? You mix the two, you get the good cop, because Lucifer parades, the quote unquote good cop, right? He's really a bad cop. Because Lucifer likes to parade like an angel of light. So it's when they're pretending to be righteous, right? Then you have the rough faced, more angry kind of cop. And that is more the big form, big evil, rough faced form of the devil. So, the Bible says that Satan with a little, is a little g god of this world. He's obviously not really in charge, but he's the god of this world in the sense that the inhabitants of the earth keep saying, "Give us Barabbas," right? Bar the Father. Okay, they're not raised to be a man. Virtue means man. That's what they're getting at, right? That the masses of the people, they follow the devil. Think about high school groups. Think about corporations. You'll see what I mean, right? Gangsters with no higher cause, jocks, populars, right? Just blood money rich people feigning, pretending to be righteous, right? Squares, the churches, you name it. They're all clearly satanic. When you've done your research into what Satanism is, you know that all the nations and all the cultures but mine, which is universal, pinpointing moral precision, not a racial culture, a national culture, or some sports-based culture, or whatever, okay, you know that they're all satanic. Okay, every serious occultist knows that I'm right about this. Every serious Satanist knows. Every educated, every Freemason, you name it, they all know. Every government that is taking anything seriously at all knows that I'm right. Straightforward. Every martial artist who takes life seriously knows that I'm right. They might be in denial about their own martial art to some degree, but they know that I'm right. If you look at, in fact, the Japanese samurai, some of the imagery there with the Japanese occult martial art cultures, you'll see satanic imagery. Okay. The dragon is a satanic symbol also in Chinese culture, Chinese kung fu, Japanese culture, Japanese karate, and the Bushido in general, the martial arts there in general. You have the sumo wrestler, right? A big form. I can go on and on about the connections here, but I think that you all know that I'm right and that the wordplay arguments are sound.